Hello. This is a video response to Sam Vaknin's latest video in which he talks about individualism, and he views it from an angle where he sees that as a problematic situation. And he also uses the term malignant egalitarianism. And I want to respond to that because I gave you a thumbs up on your video. I give you a thumbs up on almost every video because they are amazing. They are well thought through. They are professional. They are highly intelligent. They have a lot to give and to say to the world. Very important. You are a vital person in history. That's what I think. Okay. But, and it's not necessarily a negative but. It's a positive but. Okay. Positive but. I want to give my 3 cents to it and a clay putty. So I want to say to that I don't view these kind of developments, the development from religion to individualism, from looking up to some gods or self-coronated gods, to being thrown onto ourselves as if we want to declare ourselves gods, we can do it. We have that freedom now. You view this as a problem. I view this as a vital, necessary step in the direction forward for the development of psychology, for the human species. Okay, that's how I view it. And I think it is a very important development. It is very good. It's very healthy, even though there's going to be problems on that in this particular evolution of psychology, of social psychology. There are always going to be some problems, okay? As Tony Robbins always said, problem. Throwing something forward, okay? It's still a forward movement process, okay? Forward, and blem means to throw. So I throw something forward. So a problem, it appears as something that is problematic, as something that is adverse or difficult to deal with, or seemingly insurmountable in that moment. But it isn't, because a problem is always a challenge. Okay, so we need to view it as a challenge. Evolution is a flux. Everything is in a constant, perpetual flux, as you already said in your video yesterday. Everything is in a perpetual flow movement. So there's no way that one can categorize anything and put it into some Merck manual or Myers-Briggs categorizations of personality standards and say now this is there forever and it is stagnated, and these kind of personality traits, they can't intermix. You already pointed out that would be a very false way of thinking and looking at things. So absolutely true. So everything is in a constant movement, and so the same applies to problematic situations that arise on this path of of global social psychology. Okay, so times change, dictations fall away. We have a horizontal platform of social interaction now, as you pointed out, and I view this as our chance, as our opportunity to be seen, to be heard, to find people to talk to about the very important things that we want to talk to people about, okay? The things that are bothering us, the things that we want to talk about that we could not have been able to talk about in the past in our local communities. You know, most people had the best they had in their local communities were public libraries, where there's a bunch of homeless people and a bunch of psychologically damaged people that are loners that will go there. I know, I've been there, I've seen that for myself. Okay, I'm not judging them. They were actually nice to talk to. Some of them are psychologically very damaged, and some of them are alcoholics. But that's the best that people had and in their local communities. And what happened in the past was, even, you know, in the just recent past, before most people were on the internet basically just started to pick up, and people were fighting their spot at the computer at the public library. But, you know, we still had, we were talking to each other and stuff like this, and we had to put up with other people's party particles, which I can avoid now. So I don't have to read dirty books that other people have used on their toilets. So I can read stuff on the internet all the time now. So this is a lot cleaner. But at that time, you know, let's say just 15, 20 years ago, so people they didn't have anything else other than, when it came to asking someone important questions, they would actually not even ask each other, which I did. I asked the other local people. I would never go to a church and ask them something. One time I went with a friend to the Jehovah's Witness temple, and there were a few things that I agreed with them, but way too many things that I did not agree with them on. And I agreed on peace, of course, but I agree on not giving your organs to someone. I agree on that. I agree on not doing blood transfusions, those kind of things. All of this is horrible, and I fully agree with them on that. You know, we have to stay away from hospitals and surgery and those kind of things. One Jehovah's Witness lady was actually a nurse in the operation room, and which kind of contradicts what they say. So I wonder how she feels about that. But you know, I didn't get any questions answered. The only questions I got answered was that my friend meant well when I was depressed to take me there. You know, that was the only way she could think of helping me when I was being depressed and suicidal. So come with me to the Jehovah's Witnesses. And even though as depressed as I was, I'm still a critical thinker, and I sit there and I go, well, this isn't the solution, obviously. This is definitely not the solution to help me get out of my depression. And so I went with them to some personal meetings at people's houses, and none of the stuff that they were talking about made any sense at all, particularly not any of these Bible stories. It made no sense at all. And and when I talked to people about love, they looked at me like I'm crazy. Like, love? What's love? This is a different concept now. So it's like, oh my gosh, these people, man, they need a crash course in ethics. And so I have never found anyone to give me any kind of decent advice or counseling, at least not the people that I met in my daily life in person, including the psychiatrists, including the psychologists, except for Dr. Arthur Janoff, when he was still teaching at the Primal Training Center in LA for 3 years. I was there. I was a student and training to become a therapist, a primal therapist. The stuff they were talking about made 100% sense. But these kind of people were extremely rare, always were. So now on the internet, we have the chance to see the best and finest, including Sam Vaknin, including Dr. Robert Sapolsky at Stanford University, including the work of Dr. Arthur Janoff, of course, Thich Nhat Hanh, Jiddu Krishnamurti, all the important, very important teachers from the past and from the present. They are there at our monitors now for every single person to be in their own living rooms and to be eating Toblerone while we watch their videos or play with the potty or just, lean back and drink your chamomile tea and your rhododendron tea and the Camellia japonica tea and get rid of the viruses naturally and do all of this while we watch all of these amazing people on the internet. And that's a wonderful thing, and that gives everybody an equal chance, at least equal chance in terms of availability. Okay, so there's plenty of people that will turn these videos off and say, this is too boring, let me go to something more fun. Okay, something that their minds are used to, as from their past trauma and so on. They will turn to a horror film instead, because that's the only thing that will resonate with their past. Okay, it's what Dr. Arthur Janoff calls repetition compulsion. We repeat, we reenact our past. We also drown out our past with the reenactments, with bombarding ourselves again with the same horror that's actually already going on in our brains. Okay, in order to not see the horror from the past. So, like I said before, like an attempt to create a homeostasis, to not see the highlighted, obvious problems from the past, to not be reminded of it, because when we create a situation of contrast between the present, if we look at something wonderful and peaceful, it will highlight and bring out the trauma of the past. So if we accept love, for example, and intimacy, we will be confronted with the past of having not experienced unconditional love and intimacy from our parents, from our mothers. And that's extremely painful, and the ego is trying to stay away from that, using all kinds of means to run away from that. So with this horizontal way of living and experiencing things as an egalitarian society that we are merging into right now, okay, with increasing amazing technology, I don't see that as something that leaves us desolate or in too much danger. I see this as an opportunity. Okay, so don't dismiss the internet altogether, or this new era of egalitarianism. Don't call it malignant egalitarianism, because it's not malignant at all. It doesn't have to be. Okay, it's not malignant individualism or malignant self-love. Self-love is not malignant. Self-love is wonderful. Okay, yes, the ego can do all kinds of tricks, and say to itself, this is self-love, I'm overinflating myself, I'm doing a counter reaction to my past where I was bullied into the ground and now I have to overinflate myself. Okay, that's probably what you were referring to. So yeah, an overinflation process is neurotic, of course. But if we go into total resistance against it and say, no, this is a taboo, we cannot allow this, no, we have to look at it in a peaceful way and not judge ourselves too much for this. Look at it in a peaceful way. During the inwardness meditation process, I can see clearer, I can turn off the music, I can go in my room, I can silence my mind, and then the things will show themselves for the way they are. Okay. My jealousy comes up. Normally an ego would drown that out immediately, drink alcohol on it, numb it away, run away, drown it out with music, get into wild relationships to forget about this, retaliative relationships, or as you said, collusive cheating, and those kind of mechanisms. That's all neurotic, of course. That's the ego, or that's all the ego trying to run away from it. We want to go into the inwardness meditation process, and we want to allow whatever is there underneath the stuff that we're running away from. And this has the tendency to create a shape. This is a tendency to create that very shape of that what a lot of men are talking about in the chat room, and they give that the craziest names, so I just want to show them what it actually looks like. It looks more like this here. Okay. Not like all these weird fruits and foods and stuff like that. So it looks like So I love this. This is such fun material. Absolutely love it. It is very, very, very pleasurable to play with this. So It's very good for, it's very relaxing, you know. It's very good to go into the inwardness meditation process on the couch or in your room. You know, you can bury yourself into your blankets and your pillow, your sleeping bags, and so on, your stuffed animals, and you can allow yourself the feelings that come up and not run away from them, not drown it out with music, but allow it to come up. If the need for the mother comes up, you know, which comes up in me all the time, you know, so when I get tickled psychologically by men, that need comes up very, very, very strongly, like a volcano. Sometimes I had to take a sleeping bag and bunch it up and hold it in my arm and just sob and just say, "Mommy, love me," or I say it to the man who brought out this need. You know. So this is the path of the inwardness process, not act it out, not meet the next alcoholic man on the internet who will dominate me again. I already have this in somewhat a psychological form here right now. I don't want to be, I cannot be dominated, I cannot be dictated to, I cannot be in a relationship where I am being controlled by someone, or where I am psychologically bullied, where he thinks he can bully me into feeling a low self-esteem. I have grown out of that. I have healed myself out of this. Okay, this can never happen again. Once we heal ourselves out of this pain that has happened in our lives, okay, we do not gravitate back into this. Okay, I will not gravitate back into another psychologically oppressive relationship. I will not do it. Okay. And men who drink alcohol a lot have the tendency to control their girlfriends, okay, or wives, or children. So, no, I cannot allow that to happen. Okay, egalitarianism is a wonderful thing. Okay, it is a necessity for us. It is the fertile ground for psychological healing. Okay, this is our chance now. This is our opportunity for each person, for the woman and for the man, too, particularly for all the males out there who have been in their comfort, in their imaginary, in their particular individual imagination of comfort from controlling a woman. Okay. So living in from the past sexist societies, patriarchic, hierarchical structures of social psychology, okay, that has never given them the chance to go into their own minds. Now is the chance, particularly for men, to take this opportunity and go into their own minds, okay, and understand that the woman is your equal, okay. You are not over on top of the woman, okay, in any situation. So trust me on this, you know. So we are intellectual equals to you. acknowledge that and use this as your opportunity now on your couch to go into this. Okay, if this feels threatening in some way, go into it. Why does it feel threatening? What happens to you if you acknowledge that the woman is your equal? Okay, it is egalitarianism as our healing opportunity. Okay, not malignant in any way. This is a good thing. It's wonderful that we have a horizontal structure of social psychology now. Okay, this is a wonderful thing. And yes, a lot of people are suicidal. It's horrible. But I don't think that they are more suicidal than they were before, when they were going to the Jehovah's Witnesses or the Baptists or the Mormons or the evangelical churches. So, matter of fact is, I think I don't know if the suicide rate has increased. Maybe it has. Maybe it has increased because the numbers are visible now. So maybe that's another thing, okay? But if it has increased, then it is because as the aftermath of people having been in very abusive religions and having been oppressed by these abusive religions. All religions are psychologically abusive. Okay, we don't want to revert back to that. That's for sure. Okay, so this is a movement forward. Okay, that's how I see it. And we need to help people, but not with religion anymore. And a suicide hotline should not be based on a religion. It shouldn't be based on any kind of religious way of thinking, okay? Or these self-help groups that almost always have this theme of this higher power. So this comes from religion, that entire idea. I'm not saying we need to leap off and get in like what Nisargadatta Maharaj was kind of like, was misunderstood as. He didn't mean it, but people ran off with that idea of, oh, I'm God. No, that gives my ego a super opportunity to escape from my emotional pain. That's not what I'm implying. Okay, we need to humble way down. Okay, and we need to go into the inwardness meditation process. We can do it on our own, but it is always good to do it through a guided meditation, guided in terms of I'm here, or someone else like Teal Swan or Jiddu Krishnamurti, guided in a way of being reminded to go into yourself and not act things out on others anymore, or numbered or run away in any way that people do. So, but go into yourselves. Use this now as your opportunity to become clear in your head and to do your healing process. Okay, very, very, very important. Okay, you guys take care.